responding to new outcry over his contact with Russians. Recent reports revealing he met with this Russian ambassador twice. But Sessions didn't talk about that or disclose either meeting during his confirmation hearings. Utah Senator Mike Lee is a Republican member of the Senate Judiciary Committee, among other things, and joins us now live. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you.
All right, what do you make of all this morning? I mean, we're getting little tidbits of information here and there. We understand one of these meetings may have been a group that approached him on the sidelines of the RNC after an event there. Another meeting may have been an office meeting, an official one. We've heard, explanations that this is part of his job when he was on the Senate Armed Services Committee. How much of a burden do you think he has right now to come forward and explain?
Well, first of all, I think it's important to remember that Senator Sessions, now Attorney General Sessions, has indicated that he'll recuse himself anytime and every time it's warranted by the circumstances. This is someone I trust, and I trust him enough to make that determination, to know when that needs to be made. And I've got full confidence that knowing Senator Sessions as I have over the last 6.5 years, he's someone who would never willfully mislead anyone. And I think the question he was trying to answer was a question about whether there had been coordination between the campaign and the Russian government.
He has made another statement this morning that does make a bit of that clarification. Caught in a parking lot, he said essentially, I didn't talk with any Russian officials with regard to political campaign issues. Was it just an oversight that he didn't mention this during the confirmation hearings, in your estimation, based on what we know so far?
Yeah, look, I don't know. All I do know is that when I look at the statement, when I read it in context, I see a question that was getting at whether or not there was coordination between the Trump campaign and the Russian government. His intent was to answer that in the negative. Now, that really doesn't get to the heart of any other meetings he might have had as a senator, but I think that's what he meant to say.
All right, I want to play a little bit of what Congressman Jason Chaffetz, other side of the Hill, same party you had just moments ago.
Based on what we've read, and the information is not complete, I think the Attorney General should further clarify, and I do think he's going to need to recuse himself at this point.
All right, to that point, you may have been busy, but we just a few minutes ago carried live the Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer talking about this. He started with resignation. He says that's what Jeff Sessions needs to do as Attorney General, is to resign. But he went a step further beyond that. He said even if you're not on board with that, you should be on board with a special prosecutor or an independent counsel of some kind. Some of your Republican colleagues, just a couple of them, have come forward to say that that is something they think would be helpful. Would at least it change the appearance or the conversation and give added confidence to the American people if the Attorney General was to step away and allow that process to proceed?
Look, again, I want to point to what Senator Sessions said this morning, which was that he would, in any and every case where it's warranted, step aside and recuse himself. And I've got full confidence that he'll make that determination on a case-by-case basis, and if it's warranted, he'll do that.
I want to ask you as well about a couple of other hot topics, because there's no shortage of activity there on the Hill. We've had a lot of discussion today about Obamacare, the plans moving forward, whether they come from the White House, the House, different factions within the House, what you have going on in the Senate. I mean, there's a lot going on. There are a lot of moving parts. What is your belief or understanding about things moving forward on repeal and replace at this point?
Well, I think that we need to do what we have promised to do, which is repeal Obamacare and move forward with a set of step-by-step reforms that would put the American people back in charge of their own health care decisions, rather than having those decisions made by government bureaucrats in Washington. I think the first and most important step, the threshold step that will allow the rest of the reforms to take place, is for us to pass the repeal bill. Start with the repeal bill, the same bill that we passed in December 2015 that was vetoed by President Obama, and we need to pass that. And at that point, I think that will open the door to other reforms that we can consider in an iterative process, one in which the American people can be invited to participate, rather than having the American people shut out as they were when Obamacare was passed, where members of Congress themselves were told they had to pass something in order to find out what was in the bill. Okay. We don't want to do that again. We can't follow that practice.
So to be clear, you're all about let's get this thing repealed right now. We'll figure out the replace later.
Yeah, that's right. And look, there are a whole lot of proposals dealing with replace. Some of them are individual bills, some of them are aggregated bills. But the threshold question that has to be answered first is, are we going to repeal? And I think we have to actually repeal in order for the reforms to take place.
All right. Senator Mike Lee, always good to have you on. Good to see you.
Thank you.
So one